I recently made a video on the High Five Habit, which is a new book that's come out by Mel Robbins. And I did a video and that did really well. So I thought I'd give an update on how I'm getting on with the High Five Habit. So when I've currently filmed this video, I have been doing the High Five Habit for 25 days. So in the first video, I just talked about the first 5 days that I did the High Five Habit and the results that I got. However, I started doing that before the book even came out. So when I did get the book, and I got the audio book, by the way, of the High Five Habit by Mel Robbins, I discovered something in there that has actually made the High Five Habit a lot more powerful for me. And this is one of the first differences from that first video that I made. And that difference is, don't mind me if you see me looking down, I'm just consulting my notes. And that is having a moment before doing a high five in the mirror. So having a moment with myself before I do my high five. And that's something that I learned from the audiobook that Mel Robbins was saying about the high five habit and how to do it. Because before I was just going up to the mirror and just giving myself a high five. I wasn't really having a moment with myself beforehand, which is something that I've now been doing since I listened to the audiobook. So I have a moment to myself. It's just maybe 10 to 20 seconds long. Sometimes I just say something to myself like, you've got this, or if anyone can do it, it's you. I say something like that. Or I just kind of look at myself in the mirror for a while with a look of determination and stuff like that. And then I give myself the high five. And what I found is that is a really, really powerful thing to do. And that is, it gives you that kind of extra pep talk. Because when I was doing the high five habit for those first 5 days, what I found is that I really enjoyed it. It was such an enjoyable thing that I wanted to keep on going back to that mirror. And eventually, by the end of the week, I was feeling really, really motivated, more motivated than I had been in a long time. So just doing the high five alone, without having that moment, is still really powerful. But once I started having that moment to myself, that 10 to 20 seconds to myself, with myself, acknowledging myself, that it made it even more powerful for me. And it's something that I just keep on going back to. So the next thing that I realized during this 25 days of doing the high five habit is I don't judge my appearance as much, which is something that Mel Robbins does say in the audiobook about this kind of thing does actually happen. You don't judge yourself as much, because when you go to the mirror now, and when I go to the mirror now, all I think about is giving myself a high five. I'm not thinking about, I don't like the way I look today, or my hair's untidy, or, just looking at myself and hating myself, basically, which is a common experience for a lot of people. And I know that because I'm one of those people, I used to go to the mirror, and sometimes, I still do. I mean, this high five habit doesn't completely transform all of those things, but it does happen a lot less. Most of the time, let's say 90 to 95% of the time when I go to the mirror, I'm not judging myself. I'm too busy thinking about giving myself a high five because it feels good. And I'm not as judgmental about my appearance. And that is so helpful, because sometimes, it just takes it out of you when you go to the mirror and you're judging yourself, you're judging your appearance, you're looking at all the blemishes that you hate, or your weight or something, or it might be the fact that you just don't like your hair color, or you might have a few grays in there. I've found a gray hair of mine not that long ago. So you're kind of looking for these things. You're looking for the things that you want to kind of judge. You're looking for the things that you don't like. But instead, now that I've been doing this for 25 days, I am actually going to the mirror and I'm not judging myself as much. And that's really helped me with my self-esteem, my confidence, how I feel about myself. If you're enjoying the video so far, then please leave a like on it, and please do subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if there's anything that you would like me to discuss in a future video, then please leave it down in the comments. Thank you so much. So the next thing that I noticed is my motivation levels. Now, obviously motivation is something that's quite fickle. It doesn't stay around for very long, but because of this high five habit, I've been finding that I've been more productive. And I'm saying that even though a couple of weeks ago, in the middle of doing this high five habit, I got a cold, a really bad cold, and it took me out for a good few days. And I really wasn't feeling myself. And in fact, I'm still not quite over it. But even though I was sick, even though I wasn't feeling well, I was still doing things that was productive. Like if I wasn't making videos, then I was planning videos. I was, coming up with ideas, or I was writing articles or working on ebooks that I have for my other channel and things like that. Even though I was completely taken out of it, even though I was feeling horrible, I was still doing stuff, and I was still high-fiving myself in the mirror. I was still doing those things, and I still was being productive. I was still doing pretty good even though I was sick. Now, I'm not saying that you're not going to have bad days, because I definitely had bad days throughout these past 25 days. I've had days where I've not been feeling myself, where I haven't done as much as I thought I could do and stuff like that. I have had days where I haven't been as productive, but it's something that's very fleeting. Like it doesn't stick around for very long. There were some parts of my life, especially within the last year and the year before that, when all this catastrophe happened in the world, there were days when I was, there were times when I was out for weeks. There were times when I felt unmotivated and terrible for days on end. But something that this habit does is that it gives you that very much needed pick-me-up. And it helps you get back on track. Which leads me into my next finding, which is something that I discovered in, the first video where I did it for 5 days, and that is it feels good. And why not do something that feels good? We all need more things in our life that makes us feel good, right? And this high five habit makes me feel good. So yeah, I'm going to continue doing it, because we all need things in our life that continues to make us feel good, especially if you're someone like me who is incredibly hard on themselves. If I don't schedule a video, if I don't write an article, or if I just simply don't do my entire to-do list for that day, I, beat myself up. I say that I'm a failure, even though I've still done lots of things. If I don't do every single thing on that to-do list, I feel like a failure. And, I'm really, really hard on myself. And what this habit has taught me to do is not be hard on myself. Like there are days where I'm not going to be as productive. There are days where I'm not going to have as much energy. We're not robots. Human beings are not robots. We're not meant to, perform at a certain level every single day. You do need periods of rest or days where you're not as productive. Okay, so that's obviously something that we all know. We all know that we can't be robots and keep on pumping out all sorts of like high productive things and achieving at really high levels when, we need time to recover and stuff. Like that is a simple thing, but that is a simple thing to understand. But this high five habit gives you that feeling of feeling good. It makes you feel empowered. It's a fun thing to do. It's an enjoyable thing to do. And most of all, we all need new things in our life that make us feel good, that make us not take ourselves so seriously, that make us feel fun and alive. And doing the high five habit really does do that. If you are wondering how to raise your vibration, then I highly recommend that you watch this video on one way to raise your vibration, especially if things like the law of attraction haven't been working for you in the past. And you know what the great thing is about the high five habit, which comes into my last conclusion after doing this for 25 days, is when I feel discouraged, when I feel down on myself, when I feel like beating myself up, when I feel angry or frustrated, I can always go to the mirror and give myself a high five. I can always go to the mirror and have a moment with myself and say, you've got this. And that's exactly what I've been doing recently, ever since I have adopted the high five habit. Whenever I need a pick-me-up, whenever I need a boost, I go to that mirror and give myself that high five, because that feels good and it motivates me and it makes me feel more empowered. It makes me believe in myself more. And it takes away the doubt. It lets me know that I've got this. And sometimes I say that to myself. I look myself in the mirror before giving myself that high five and say, you've got this. If anyone can do this, it's you. You've done a lot of tough stuff in the past. You've gone through a lot of traumas. You've been a victim of certain circumstances in your life, and you're still here and you're still fighting and you're still trying to have the life that you want. And that is pretty damn good. Have a high five, and that's what gives me that boost. It makes me feel better about myself. It helps me tackle the rest of the day. It gets me stuck out of that place where I'm being a downer on myself, and it puts me into a place of empowerment. And that is essentially what the high five habit has done for me within these past 25 days since I've been doing it. It's been making me feel much more empowered, and it makes me hate myself a lot less. essentially. So I highly recommend that you go and get the book for yourself. If you've already read the book or listened to the audiobook, then please let me know down in the comments. Write down what your thoughts are. If you've been doing this, I want to know what everybody's been doing. See if the results are the same and stuff like that. I'd love to know your experience with the high five habit, or if you just want to geek out about Mel Robbins, if you're a huge fan of her like myself. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye, guys.